Plaintiff Dustin Brown says when he met the defendants at a bar and discovered they were about to be homeless, he allowed them, as well as their daughter, to rent the upstairs of his home. However, when the defendants moved out of his home, they still owed him for rent, so he's suing. Defendants Joanne Thompson and her husband George say had they known Dustin was a drug addict who also sold drugs out of his home before they moved in, they would have never rented from him. Joanne and George say Dustin was constantly raising the rent on them, and they're countersuing for veterinary bills and emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I'd like to say that I met these two individuals at a local bar in my hometown area, and I overheard them talking about the possibility of them becoming homeless and needing a place to stay. They talked about their daughter, where she was going to stay, she was going to go to school, and after talking with them, we ended up switching cell phone numbers, and I ended up allowing them to rent the upper portion of my house, that I rent for myself, which has 11 bedrooms in it.
And they have 11 bedrooms.
Absolutely.
That's not true,
What,
sir.
6 up and 5 down? Just curious.
That's 5 up, 5 down, and then there could be one in the basement.
You have how many in your
I have 5 on my
flat?
floor, yes. Your
That's
Honor.
not true, sir.
And, all right, ma'am, hold on 1 second. And who stays in all those bedrooms? Just curious.
I got my father living there. I had Warren, my witness, which
Is
I'd
it
like
big
to.
common areas? How many square feet?
I really don't know.
Okay,
Your Honor.
that sounds pretty amazing. Let me see what you have.
This is the assessor's thing saying that it's a single-family dwelling.
Doyle doesn't have 5 bedrooms and he has a lot of money. What are you saying, ma'am?
The assessor's report says that it's a single-family dwelling and that it has less rooms than he's claiming.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Your Honor. I have pictures as well, if I could show
I
you.
see it and want to see. Show me the pictures. And when did you agree to rent the property?
It was in May, Your Honor.
May of,
The last part of May. It'd be like
Of
the
09?
last of 09, yes.
and what was the agreement?
The agreement was $700 for rent and $100 for electrical.
That's the total
Per
agreement.
month, yes.
Okay. Look at the house again. For $700, I'll take that deal.
But then you have to live with him.
I live upstairs, he said, or downstairs.
Yeah, but that's not the deal. He wanted us to come downstairs all the time. He wanted to play with us. Can you go out with us? Can you drive
Your
us
Honor,
places?
Your Honor, that's not true, Your Honor.
Yeah, it is. You always want us to be around them.
I mean,
You always want us
talking to two people that don't have jobs, and they're here for
We're just
show.
going to live our own life there. You basically want to
Let me
control
hear
everything
your part
we
and
did.
take me up to the rental. Go ahead, tell me.
Okay, we met him
what
for
you
the
want
first
me to
time in
know.
April, and at the beginning of May, we were looking for someplace else to live. We were not going to be on the street. Our rent was paid through the end of May. We were just looking for another place to live. He said, I have this really big house. You guys want to come see it? We went and saw it, and we hesitated because we were like, anything that sounds too good to be true probably is, and we definitely learned that it was. We went there, checked it out. It seemed like it was going to be a nice place, and then every other day for the entire month of May, he would call, when are you moving in? When are you moving in? Can you guys come out?
not true, Your
Come
Honor.
pick
That
us
isn't
up.
Finish.
Come pick me up. Can you bring me a case of beer? Can you drive my friend here? Can you drive me here? Can you take me to this party?
Every day it was something.
And the things that he weren't telling us is that he'd been arrested for selling drugs out of his house and that they
Your
confiscated
Honor,
his
that's
drugs and
irrelevant
his
to
money.
this case. That's
And if we'd have
Voluntarily
known
told you that?
Yeah, and if we'd have known all that, we would have never moved in there because
Your Honor,
we
that's
didn't
irrelevant
want-
at this time.
Well,
It's completely not irrelevant. It's totally relevant. It shows his character.
They're saying it affected the tenancy.
Your Honor, it
really
is.
did.
I will agree.
He
It is a
spent 2
true
months in
statement. It
jail.
is a true
And
statement.
they said
but-
it affected the tenancy.
But they knew about it before they moved into my house.
Sir, we did not.
Yes, they did, Your Honor. And I'd like to at this time to bring up Warren
Come on
Calhoun.
up. State your name.
They did. My name is Warren Calhoun. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
And that's the truth. In the upstairs, I lived there with his father before the Thompsons
Now,
moved
you
in.
skipped over what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about them having knowledge that he
Oh, yeah, they had
was
knowledge
a
about the-
cocaine abuser.
No,
and
no,
what else?
marijuana.
So is this how it went?
Yeah.
Oh, I got a big house for you all to rent, and it has several bedrooms. Oh, but let me let you know, right up front, I'm a dope fiend.
Your Honor,
Never went like
That
that
how it
at
went?
all.
Your Honor, if I will,
You said you let him know ahead of time. Tell me how that conversation went.
Absolutely. We ended up meeting him at a bar. We ended up smoking pot together. And then I just said, hey, you know, I'm going to be doing some jail time here coming up. I'm going to need some.
That is so not true,
That's
Judge.
not true, Your Honor.
It's not true.
They
I was
did know
being
this,
totally
though,
honest
yeah.
with
That
him,
is
Your
not
Honor.
true.
That's
Totally
not
honest
true
with
at all.
So that sounds reasonable because you all would know he's not going to be around, and so he's letting you know why he's not going to be around.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
That doesn't affect the tendency that he's not going to be around. It would affect the tendency if he's getting high in the house.
He was getting high in the house. He was getting high outside of the house.
And he never
Getting
told
high
them
in
you
the
were getting
parking
high
lot
in
at
the
night.
house.
I was getting high with them as I was after the bar scenery. I got high with them.
In the house.
Yes.
So they knew.
Yes,
All
Your
right.
Honor. I showed him my
Go
house.
ahead. Let's move on. That's not the central point of this. Central
you.
point
Thank
is
you.
rent and emotional distress. So the agreement was, as of May, $700 in rent, $100 in utilities. Then what happened?
They paid June's month, and then July came up and they were shy, and then August came up and they were shy, and it just came to excuse after excuse. I mean, first of all, they claimed that he had a stroke,
We have documentation to support
which
that, Your
it
Honor.
could be true, it could not be true. I mean, the day that they left my house, Joanne said, "Oh, we got to move out because I need to take care of my mother. She's on her dying bed. She's going to die, and we're moving in their house."
We never said that, sir.
What month did they move out?
They moved out on October 31st.
And they pay sporadically.
Sporadically, it was just delinquent. Yeah, like 1 month they'd pay $400. The
All
next
right.
month would
And
be.
you say they owe how much based on, do you have a list of the
Absolutely. I have a
times
list
they
that
missed?
Joanne Thompson here wrote out on a graph. I'd like to state that. She didn't sign it, but it's her. And before they left, I made it real simple on them. I mean, because.
Okay, this
they
is
said
a
that they had-
balance of $1,200 you say they owe, correct?
Absolutely. Here's
You
a,
all tell
a
me
statement
about the
from
rent.
George
I
E.
got
Thompson.
your point so far.
Okay.
Tell me about the rent, ma'am.
We agreed to pay $600 a month, and then every time he turned around, he was like, well, I'm going to need to make it $700 a month to cover the utilities. And then he said $700 a month plus another $100 for utilities. And my husband we paid him $600 the first month we lived there because he was so adamant that we move in, even though we told him that we did not have the cash to move in. Just move in, we'll take care of it when we go.
That's not
When we
true,
get
Your Honor.
paid, that is true, Your Honor. In July, very shortly into July, we'd paid him $600 on the 2nd of July, and then my husband had a stroke shortly after that, so then he wasn't working, and we didn't have any income coming in. When my husband was released from the hospital at the beginning of August, he pulled my husband aside and said, don't worry about the rent for August, I got it covered, don't worry about it. And
would
then
never say that, Your Honor.
all the time, and then as soon as he had to go into jail and do work release and he had to pay all these fees out for his work release, then he was like, you got to pay me money. You got to pay me money. I need it. You don't understand. I got to have this money.
Did you, as of October 8th, agree that you owed $1,200?
According to his plan of
Whose
telling
chart
us.
is this?
It's mine because he was trying to tell us that we owed him
And if you look to
$800
the
a
right of
month.
You did not protest this as you were filling it out?
He wanted to know how much that we had paid him because he hadn't kept any records of anything, and I had a receipt book that showed when I paid him what. And then he said, he was sitting next to me kind of getting nasty with me. He's like, well, it's supposed to be $800 a month. So I was like, fine, 800, 800, 800, 800. I'm
So
like, now
you-
you're trying to tell us that we owe you $1,200, which we don't owe you. And then I got angry and stormed out. And then he brought my husband back down because he would turn off the electric
So
whenever
you
he get
wrote
mad at
down
us.
$1,200 as the balance, knowing that you didn't know that.
Yes.
Without even signing it.
Because he was yelling and screaming at us, and his girlfriend
You had some
was
more
standing at
evidence
the
you
top.
wanted
Yes,
to
I do, Your
present,
Honor.
sir.
Yes, I do. Absolutely. Here's the written out agreement.
Your counterclaim, ma'am, is for $2,000, or you all, $2,500 for a veterinarian bill
Yes.
and emotional distress.
That's
right?
correct. The police were constantly at the house, and one of the times right before the 4th of July that he called the police on his father, we ended up staying there and dealing with the police, and he knew that we had to leave, and so did his girlfriend, that we had to leave to get our cat to the vet. And because we ended up staying there dealing with the police, which I have the police reports here, because of that, we ended up having to take our cat to an emergency vet where they wanted $1,100 to look at our cat. They only did the very bare minimum for $325, and then we subsequently had to take him to another.
Ma'am, did he cause your cat to be ill?
No, he did not, but he caused us
Did
to
he
have to go
stop you
to.
from going, or did the police stop you?
The police, because he called
Sue the
them.
police. That's ridiculous, ma'am. How are you going to sue this man because your cat got sick? He had nothing to do with your cat getting sick. Go ahead, sir. Do you have anything showing that they agreed that they owed you, other than her writing and her handwriting the balance?
His statement right there. That's
That's
his.
not George's signature. We even went under, he went
Your Honor,
under
I have a-
handwriting analysis.
This, you agree
He
that
also
the
states in
balance
here-
was $1,200, and you say it's not George's signature.
I did not
No, it's
sign
not.
that.
And
All
he
right.
also
Go
ascertains
and
in
get
this
it,
document
please.
that it's
We'll
his
see.
house, which
We'll
it's
see.
not.
All right,
Because
man,
it was
you
an
can stop
illegal.
all that fast talk. This is
Sorry.
about to show exactly
fast.
what's
I'm
happening.
sorry.
This handwriting analysis, all that fast talk won't do you a bit of good
I'm
after I
sorry, I
read
just speak
this.
fast.
According to the handwriting analysis expert, the signature in question was proven to be that of the defendant.
It's not.
No,
You
sir.
take a look at it, read it. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your claim is dismissed. Have a good day.